All right, moving on. Let's talk about LA Sevens. All right. LA Sevens, man. HSBC Sevens came through and said, yo, we are really trying to build up to make sure that we can make our mark the way that we need to make our mark. Man, when you say shout out to France, shout out to New Zealand women, France men for getting the win. This was the first time in 15 years that the LA men, what am I saying? That the French men got a win in the series, man. And shout out to Antoine Dupont, who seems to clearly be the LeBron of rugby in terms, because what has happened to the French 15s team and then what is happening with the French 7s team. I saw an article talking about it's a disingenuous look to talk about how Antoine Dupont is changing the game for France and taking away from the work that they did. France wasn't winning. They weren't winning in the medal matches, okay? Like, what can you say? Antoine Dupont came on and all of a sudden they're at the gold medal match. The man literally has earned his player of the year, multiple time player of the year acclamation acclaim for everyone. Like, what are we going to talk about, man? Absolute beast. Obviously, New Zealand women absolutely getting it. Shout out to Portia Woodman, 50th cap, which is amazing because she's been playing for 10 years. 10 years that she has been playing, and she's only getting her 50th cap. Like, that's nuts. That's in 7 series, because she's also plays 7. She also plays 15s as well. Like, that is insane to be able to get done. So I got to give a lot of credit to that, man. And she's still performing. Again, she is, I think, without a doubt, the single best women's rugby player, and a top 5, maybe top 10 all-time rugby player, in my opinion. I know we got a lot of people that you can put into, but when you talk about competition, skill set, and based off of the diversity of skill set, I got to give Portia Woodman a top 10 look all time. Definitely in terms of iconicism. So, man, that one's great. I want to look now specifically over at the USA, because this one was a little bit of an interesting one, because it's been a buildup. We had Vancouver the week prior to it, where we start seeing more improvement. The women got, I think, 4th place in Vancouver, and I'm glad that they ended up coming in bronze. Of course, we wanted them to finish in, 1st place, but we got to talk about how our weakness with Australia is a very, very real one. So let's look at the scores that the women had for this HSBC Sevens in LA. All right. First off, women took on Spain to top off pool matches, beat them 40-6. Absolutely great, because Spain women are an absolute developing team. USA took on Great Britain, destroyed them 34-7. Again, another one that is absolutely necessary to look at and great to see, because of the fact that Great Britain is then the other team that absolutely annihilated the U.S. in the Olympics back in 2020, 2021. USA would then take on Canada, beating them 22-19. Again, great to take out our rival and to end up being perfect in pool play, as a medaling team should absolutely do. Then they would go on to the quarterfinals to take on South Africa, beating South Africa 24-7. Now, let me just do a quick segue over here. The fact that we are seeing the growth of South Africa women and Brazil women is something that I don't think we're appreciating as much. I know I'm talking about the U.S. typically, but I really wanted to point this out, because Brazil women, when we first saw them in 2016 really come out, were horrendous, absolutely horrendous. But in the last couple years, the amount of talent that they've been able to put in, and we saw them beat Ireland just a few series ago, 2 series ago, and seeing South Africa women getting more and more attention by their South African program overall in sevens, I think is phenomenal. It's something that we saw the same kind of rise with Fiji, and I love that this attention to detail is going on, because they are both going to be representing in the Olympics, and I think that how they result in the Olympics, even though they're not doing great right now in terms of the standings of HSBC, but they are still amongst the best. Even if they're the bottom of the HSBC series, they're amongst the best in the world. And I love the fact that we're seeing that growth. So big shout out to South Africa and Brazil women for being able to get their come-ups that way. But on top of that, we're also getting to see like after that, we had USA going against Australia, losing to them 19-26. And y'all, this game, like, we are not able to do anything against Australia. I don't know. They are our absolute kryptonite. They have beat us in every single quarterfinals that we've faced them in since the series started this season. Like, Australia has our number. I don't know why we are not able to. Like, Faith Nathan is so fast off the edge. Charlotte Castle seems to be cutting up. Madison, what's her name, seems to just be absolutely just bullying through us. And for some reason, they have the defense to neutralize Ilyone, neutralize our women. And I don't get it. I don't get it. We have seen them so much, and it scares me for the Olympics because they're literally between us and a gold medal. Because once again, we ended up falling out of the semifinals and going up against Canada to be able to beat them 21-7 to get the bronze. And obviously, Australia went off, played against New Zealand. New Zealand ended up winning. That's always a back and forth. I feel like they always come back and forth with each other on that one. But it was just like, it's frustrating. It is frustrating to see that our women are so talented and we are absolutely getting hawked by Australia. Every single quarterfinals in the series, every single quarterfinals or semifinals, whatever reason, we do not get past that team. And so looking at it now, obviously Australia is top of the league. They're absolutely killing it. But, when it comes to the standings, Australia, number 1, New Zealand, number 2, France, number 3, USA, number 4, Canada, Ireland, Fiji, and Great Britain to solve out the top 8. And then afterwards, you have Brazil, South Africa, Japan, and then subsequently Spain to the bottom 4. Now, the reason though bottom 4 is very important is because at the end of the series, there's going to be a Challengers Cup versus the bottom 4 to be able to see who's going to be replacing who, or a chance to compete to replace teams to enter into the next year's HSBC 7 series. So this is very significant, and this is going to make a big difference because when we go look at the men's, this is something that we need to really be worried about going into. So let's go talk into the men's side, where less than appealing outing, but a great start again. We saw this in Vancouver, a great start to the men. We had let's go down the scores. USA men took on Samoa, beating them 31-12. USA losing to Australia 12-17, and then coming back to beat New Zealand 28-19. Men would fall then to France in the quarterfinals, 14-0. Obviously, France would go on to become the champions. And then we would lose to Australia again, 24-14, to finish 8th in the series, which has been our perennial spot throughout this series. Now, before I go into the criticism, man, let's give the biggest shout out to the great one, the legend, Perry Baker, for absolutely getting 200 and freaking 80 bloody scores in the 7 series. All right, like, hold on, like I gotta put on the play that did it, because obviously I've said this multiple times. I don't think Perry Baker gets the public credit that he deserves for literally being a legend on the team. He does not get the public credit that he 100% deserves for being this amazing on the USA team. And it is literally a shame that happens each time. All right, so let me throw on this video. All right.
Schrader. Anufe looks in front of him. Henry Hutchison is all he sees. Hughes. Cummins, Bitzer, Baker. Baker with space. Baker with space. He doesn't need much, and he'll cross over and bring the United States right back into this game.
Well, they needed some energy. They needed something special. And you can mark that down to Maka Nuve. He's the one that brought a bit of heat at the breakdown to get the turnover. And from there was multiple facets. 3 times they went across the field. This is the 3rd one. And Perry Baker, you see him put the hammer down. Take it straight into 5th. And there's no way anyone's catching Perry Baker when he gets into that gear.
Ridiculous.
A much-needed try from the United States.
Bruh, like, absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. The man is an absolute monster. He's a legend, Hall of Famer. There is nothing that he has not accomplished except for being able to get those actual medals on his chest. And we really needed him to get that. But this goes back to what happens with the men. Like, we keep faltering once we get into the knockout stages. And there's been, conversation. Is Mike Friday really the one that's going to be able to take us anymore? But who's going to be there to replace it? Like, we can't be like, okay, Mike Friday has hit us to our limit, because he always puts us at the door. I think a friend of mine said it great. He's like, Mike Friday has been able to coach us to be able to be knocking on the door. But for whatever reason, we are completely unable to break through that door and get over inside the house. And again, it says a lot. I had obviously just did an interview with DeMonte Noble, who put some opinions on that. And if you guys go check out Great American Rugby, he talks with Mike Friday often. But like, it is exhausting at this point. Once again, another 7th, 8th, 9th place finish for the USA men, who are 100% talented enough to be able to do this, 100% have the experience to be able to get over the top. But for whatever reason, when it comes down to the games that matter the most, this is whenever we absolutely disappear and we completely flop. And it is looking like we're going to do this again for the Olympics. Once again, come in with high hopes, come in with expectations, and then right whenever it counts the most. That is hurting my heart, because once again, it would be a dog shame for Perry Baker, 2-time World Rugby Player of the Year, possibly could be a 3rd one. And I know a lot of people go like, he's 37. I'm 37. The man's a week older than me. Like, 37 ain't old, but the man is coming to the end of his career. And the fact that he has not had a significant win as a team, I know it's not just an individual thing, but as a team, considering the amount of work that he has been able to do, considering the amount of time and how much he has absolutely changed the face of USA Sevens rugby in the US and around the world. The fact that we have not been able to just get a good placement in years. I think it's been at least 3 years since we won at least a 1st place, which was London? Maybe 2-3 years ago? Maybe we did it in LA 2 years ago. But we definitely didn't do it for the Olympics. We definitely didn't do it for the Rugby World Cup Sevens. And we haven't done it consistently. We haven't even medaled consistently. And each of the last Olympics that we've done have been 7th and 8th place finish, 9th place finishes. So we can't do that. We're too good to do this. And seeing it goes that much more, and it hurts my heart, because when you look at the standing, the USA is sitting strong in 8th place. Strong. We are at the line to be able to be relegated to have to compete in the Challengers Cup. All right. We are one bad series away from being forced to relegate and defend ourselves to stay in the HSBC 7 series. And if we get relegated down to Challengers with the level of talent that we've had on this team for all this time, that would be the most crucial shame that we had. Looking at the standings, for those, obviously, if you're not watching on YouTube, then you look at, it's Argentina number 1, Ireland number 2, Fiji, France, Australia taking up 3, 4, 5, New Zealand and South Africa at 7, which I think history has always told us South Africa should really be better. And the fact that South Africa still has to go through repechage to be able to qualify for the Olympics is incredibly wild to me. Incredibly wild. But it is literally a shame that we are sitting at 8th place as the men's, and we still got what? We still have 3 more series Three more series left, but this last one, 2 more qualifying series, and then the last one is a championship series. If we falter in any of the 2 and get below 8 in any of the 2, we're in relegation. And thank God we already have qualification for the Olympics, because if we needed this to get in, we are effed. Absolutely effed. And it does not make any sense whatsoever why we should be in this position. So let me know what you guys think on this one, man. Like, where is your thoughts on why the USA men's seems to just be faltering so much inside these games? It is a level of aggravation that I don't understand. But also on the flip side, man, what is your thoughts on the women's side? Like, what is the potential for them to be able to get a medal for the Olympics? Because this is what this is all leading for. Like, let's call a spade a spade. Like, HSBC 7 series is great, but ain't nothing more important than what they're going to do for the Olympics. That's what matters. The Rugby World Cup 7s doesn't matter like the Olympics. The HSBC 7s championship doesn't matter like the Olympics. What happens this year, 2024, in Paris, when it's all said and done, is where it all comes down to. And can the USA women find a way to be able to get past Australia, to be able to be in a meaningful championship? I want to know what you guys' thoughts are. Let me know in the comments when you get a chance, or hit me up within the videos to be able to know. Let me know what you guys think, man, because I'm just frustrated with the men's. But man, shout out, to LA Sevens going well. Great series, and it seems like it was another success considering the split of attention that happened. I ain't convinced. Black out the tents.